It's a familiar, sad story that many of us have experienced. You've invited your friends over to play Mario Kart 64 or GoldenEye 007 on the N64, but the cat ate your other controller. If you have a really big, hungry cat. So what do you do in this situation? In a pinch, you're short on money because you blew it all on Mario Kart 64, which still cost as much as a new game. Well, you could always buy this, the Superpad 64 by Performance. It's like an N64 controller that had those pointy bits chopped off, which makes it even worse. How do you make an N64 controller even more clumsy and awkward than the original one? Well, they found a way with the Superpad 64. Wow! Look at that. It does look like some kind of Cylon warship. That's kind of cool, but it's not, and that kind of sucks. The first and greatest offender is the D-pad, which is just terrible. It doesn't even feel like you're moving in any particular direction. For what it's worth, the D-pad on the regular Nintendo brand controller isn't that bad. I don't like the thumbstick on any of them. I think it does not have enough resistance, feels way too flimsy. I don't care for the button design, they look kind of goofy and awkward. And the Z button is just downright terrible on this thing. While it does work, you don't get a good click or at least an indication that you're pushing it. If we look at both controllers side by side, you can see they're both the same thing with the same buttons. This one is a bit thicker and some people may find it more comfortable. I think they're both kind of awkward. Doesn't look as nice, that's for sure. It works with the standard N64 peripherals like the memory card and the rumble pack, and it says Superpad 64 by Performance. It's a much thicker controller, and you can feel that right away when you're holding it. If you're used to the standard N64 controller, you'll probably find this very awkward. The button placement is also slightly different. Not much, but just enough to make you uncomfortable if you're used to the normal one. All that being said, it does work, and it's also cheaper than the regular N64 controller. By a couple bucks. Now the good news is all this stuff is very affordable. There's a lot of them out there, and it does work. If you're in need of a second, third, or fourth controller and your local store is out of all of these and all they have is this, you can get by and maybe one of your friends will like it. But then they should be cast out of your circle of friends. How do I know what button that is? The regular Nintendo controller tells me right on the button. That's easy, that's hard to miss. But this? What the hell button is that? Is that the F button or the U button? Here's what the plug looks like. If you're judging your controllers by the design and layout of the plugs, then you really need something else to do. Wait a second. Here's what the controller pack looks like being inserted into the Superpad 64. Wow. With more to grip, there's more to love. It's the Superpad 64 by Performance. Don't pay too much for it, but if you need another controller, this one does work. What really makes this show high quality is that I actually spelled van incorrectly while I was writing it out. But I was thinking one letter ahead. It's the less than Superpad 64.